Jenny, you know what's the deal with fucking Starburst? Because I haven't had Starburst in forever, right? And I got some, and I was like,
Right.
I used to love Starburst, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, why don't I eat these anymore? Have you tried to open a Starburst recently?
Uh, well, they've always been shit. What do you mean? Like,
I like the taste, but it takes like 5 minutes
yeah,
to
yeah,
open the packet.
yeah.
Why are
That's been
they?
like that for years.
Why are they so hard to get into? Why is there like child locks on these
Well,
fruit sweets?
why? Yeah, why has it got child locks on, and why is it so wasteful? Like, just put it in the packet.
I feel like the
That's
Starburst
my
wouldn't go
opinion.
off if you just had them unindividually
Well,
wrapped.
yeah, I have actually tried it before. Like, my concern was like, oh, they might contaminate each other. Like, I'm a big thing of like, it's the reason why I don't like fruit salad. Like, say, like, I like all the fruit in a fruit salad.
Right.
As soon as you add it together, I just find it contaminates other stuff. And it's just disgusting.
Mm.
I was worried that Starburst would do the same thing. I tried undoing it and actually testing it once. It was fine. It was acceptable. I don't get it.
You know what I don't get? Why there isn't enough
Uh,
boomer shooters in the world, baby. There just cannot be enough of these great shooters, immersive
well, I can say
sims.
there are a lot of them.
There's not enough for my taste, personally.
That's fair. There's not enough
Tangerine
co-op
Realms
RPG.
Deep. So I'll briefly talk about Realms Deep. Realms Deep is a conference thing that happens. So Realm 3D Realms is like a huge creator of boom shooters back in the day. Stuff like Duke Nukem was a big game that they used to make. Um, and
Shoot,
recently,
forever.
t- yeah, kind of yes, but not. They made Duke like a playable version of Duke in 2001, and then they got bought up by Gearbox, and then they
Yeah,
released that Duke Nukem Forever game in 2011
yeah.
that I have completed, and
Can't
I
believe you
yeah.
completed it.
Um, but they came back recently with stuff like Iron Fury, Wrath, Aeon of Ruin, like some really cool stuff. I played that Rip Out game in the like horror game where your guns are like animals, like aliens. I was like, that shit's cool.
Oh,
They
yeah.
published that. That stuff's really cool. So I was going through Realms Deep, um, the actual. They basically had like a trailer conference show where they just showed a bunch of trailers, and I was like, okay, let me write down some of these for the podcast. And as I was going through it, um, I was like, I'll just write down only the ones I'm interested in. It turned out I just wrote down every single game that was announced. And I was like, shit, I've got to like cut some of these back. And then I never finished making that list actually because I realized some of them had demos, and I was like, well, I got to play some of these. Um, some really
so,
cool
so,
shit got announced though, like Phantom Fury, which is like a
mm,
sequel to Iron Fury, but it's not 2D now. It's like in a 3D engine in like Unreal Engine
oh,
4. And there's also
okay.
like this is insane. They're making a like modern Rise of Triad engine thing. You know, like I call them Night Dive ports, right?
Yeah.
But it's being made by Night Dive and New Blood, which I'm just like,
Oh,
that
wow,
is like a
okay.
dream team for this sort of stuff.
Yeah, interesting that works out.
But like, I don't know how much you know about like New Blood, but like the CEO of New Blood, Dave Oshry, he worked on the 2013 version of Rise of Triad. Um,
Oh,
so,
yeah, I forgot about. Yeah, that's a weird one, right?
but there's been some really cool stuff announced. But there's also some really cool demos that got released as well. And here's the first one that I played: Fortune's Ruin. Fortune's Ruin
Okay.
is a really interesting game. This game has so much fucking potential; it's insane. Like
Peer potential.
it's one of those games that's just full of tiny features that no one would have thought of, but went into like you know like when somebody makes an immersive sim, there's so many tiny little things they have to put in
Yeah,
um, to be like,
which
oh,
no other game does.
what if a player were to try and do this?
Yeah,
And it seems like insane, like thinking about building something like that because you would have to put in so many different features. I feel like Fortune's Run is a game that's just full of those little features, and I'm a little bit worried about Fortune's Run because it takes a long time to get to the point where you're really into the game, and also
right.
some of the stuff unfortunately run is a little clunky. Like the platforming is. A lot of people are complaining about it in the Steam forums, and it seemed like the dev was getting a bit defensive about it. But like, honestly, it's not great. Like, all due respect, the platforming's bad.
Yeah, some refinement necessary, I suppose.
Yeah, and I mean, like, there's a lot of free running in the game, and especially in the demo level. So it's a shame that it's not as good when it is a full feature. Like, it genuinely feels really cool to be running around this. It's a sci-fi world, Tony, and there's these people called the Federation, but it's a very different Federation to the one you're used to.
Is it the Confederation?
This is stuff I'm talking about. It's not like a normal boom shooter. It's more like an RPG where you have like head damage, torso damage, and you have boundaries and percentage damage. So, in the description it says it's high octane first person shooter with stealth and RPG elements. It has RPG elements, it has shooter elements, it has like immersive sim elements. It's like
and it's not like the RPG elements of we added a level up system. They've actually added like other interesting parts of RPGs. So that's interesting.
To my knowledge, there is no level system in the game, so they haven't included that sort of stuff. So
no, I don't know if Ubisoft or whatever. It's like we add like RPG mechanics to everything. What they really mean is we're gonna lock everything off behind a leveling system that's just shit.
Stuff like, let's just go through all the stuff I love. So let's lift off some stuff. I love the world. It's very, almost like Fifth Element. It feels like.
Yeah, I was trying to think when what it felt like, but it feels like more grimy than that.
Like grimy Fifth Element in space. Yeah. Like almost like Sin City in space or something like that. Like just like this really grimy city, and it has lots of like cyberpunk vibes as well. The actual thing of cyber, I feel like you can't talk about the cyberpunk style without mentioning the CD Projekt Red game at this point. It seems like.
Well, no, you don't. No, what you do is you mention cyberpunk and go.
No, sorry guys, it's got a very it's got a very Blade Runner-y style.
Okay.
But yeah, I think like the story's a big strength. The combat's interesting. I think it's hard to get into initially, but once you get like a couple of weapons and you start to get into it, it really starts to flow. I really like the music. Some people were complaining about the music on the forum, saying like it was like one song on loop sort of thing, which it was. And like the level's super long. It's like an hour long. Just playing through this one level, and it's like action packed, and it's also you're dropped in like halfway through the game. It's essentially like, hey, here's a snippet of a really cool level in the game.
Yeah.
Let me just kick this guy or attempt to kick this guy off a balcony. So the samurai sword's pretty interesting. It gives you the ability to like sneak up and chop up enemies, but it also gives you the ability to deflect bullets back at enemies that are shooting at you, which is really cool. But you have this thing called focus mode, and again, this is where I was talking about like the weird RPG element stuff, where you can smoke cigarettes, and then cigarettes like give you a boost, your focus, which like slows down time, like time dilation in like the Outer Worlds. Sort of.
Or like the Matrix focus games.
You see there, like you can grab enemies and like hold them. I think that looks really, really cool. It reminds me of Fallen Aces from New Blood. That demo is really, really cool. But like in the game, there'll be stuff where you'll have to hack into terminals, and it won't be like you press a button and then it hacks the terminal, and it won't be here's a pipe puzzle to hack the terminal. It's like
it's unfortunate.
You have to like physically hack the terminal, so you'll have to find a keypad with the login information, and then you'll have to type like login, username, password, and then it's like there'll be like a list of help commands. You type in help, and then it'll give you commands, and it's like, oh, I want to see the camera that's connected to this. It's like camera description, the elevator, right? But you don't type in view cam elevator. No. You have to look at the list of where the elevator camera is on a server, and then you have to type like view cam 102.vemi server. It's like it gives you that feeling like you're actually inside a computer terminal.
Yeah,
and like some of the stuff I tested was really cool. Like again, when I was saying like it takes really small features of that most people wouldn't think about and probably would never do, but it anticipated it for me. Where I took somebody, you go to a terminal, you get credentials, right? And the first credentials are like login, IT admin, password ABC123, right?
Yeah.
And then you go to another computer where you need to essentially shut down a lockdown that's happened on the club you're in. And you get like a new password that is more powerful to type in to basically shut off this shutdown, this lockdown. But you can type in the old IT admin password as well, and it will just, you won't have the same authorization sort of thing, which I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
really interesting that they actually thought, what if somebody tried to type in a second password? So here's a problem I was facing. I didn't realize that you were. I got really lost and wasn't sure where to go. The game's really fucking dark. Is one of the things that I found that obviously stylistically it's supposed to be like this. Another
Do you not
thing,
have a torch or anything?
yes, you have a flashlight, but it's never explained to you that you can use it. I stumbled upon it. Again, it has this like old school mentality of here's an equipment list that you access by pressing these buttons, and then like it's almost like it's very old school, but also kind of clunky.
Yeah.
And the general setup is you've gone to this club to kill this guy, and then it turns out that the client you've gone to kill was murdered by someone else. And then what happens is, the feds basically, you're in like this illegal club, and the feds lock down this club. So it goes from like one bad decision to another, where essentially you just get like, it feels like you naturally get into this like in the middle of this big mess, and it feels like quite organic and natural. It's just like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool.
There's many games that actually do that well either, so it's kind of
nice. I didn't. Obviously, like a lot of it's scripted, but it still feels like quite organic, which I thought was really, really cool.
Even though you didn't do it, it felt like you were the one involved doing it.
Yeah. So I got into everything I loved about the game. I love that you can just pick up and drop every weapon, and just like I have a samurai sword, you can just drop that and pick up an SMG or a blaster. There's like some of the police have riot shields. I was like, why the hell is this vent here? Why would I ever need to go through this vent? And then the vent comes back later in the game, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like,
right. It all ties in.
The game suggests you autosave a lot, which I'm like, oh, that's cool, because the autosave animation is one of the best autosave quick save animations I've ever seen in the entire game. Where essentially you save, and when you die, you have to quick save back to where you were. But what happens is when you die, you get like rewinded to the last point you were. It's like 2 minutes ago or 45 seconds ago. You'll see here.
Are we seeing it here?
Yeah. So you'll see where I last saved. It went, they'll like rewind the tape, and I was like, this is fucking awesome. If I figure out which key it is, apparently. That was maybe okay. I'd load it from the menu because I wasn't sure where I quick saved. That's one thing that was like, it doesn't initially tell you all the keys, sort of thing.
There's no like tutorial game like press these keys to do these.
There is a tutorial.
Oh,
so there it is.
2 minutes earlier.
So I was trying to figure out, because they're like handing your weapons if you want to get in this club, and I was trying to figure out if there was a way to get past these guys without having to beat the shit out of them, like if I could actually just hand them my weapons, but I guess the game doesn't really let you. So I tried to like hand in my weapons, because these guys kick your fucking ass. But I couldn't figure it out, so it seems like you have to fight past these guys, at least to my knowledge. But at this point, like, I didn't even know I was holding a gun, or I could switch between different slots that I had. There is a tutorial. I did play it, but again, it's one of those games where the breadth of all the systems is so huge, but you can't have a player sitting in there for like 5 hours to learn everything. So
I guess in the full game that they'll slowly introduce the mechanics instead of just like, oh, here's everything in the middle of the game.
Yeah, because it's like One thing I was saying about this game is like, I don't remember if I said this, but I was like, Lawns Learn. I don't remember if this. It's hard to say if this game's like awful or like a masterpiece. It's like somewhere in between. It feels like.
Well, there's stuff that's like some of the mechanics are masterpieces, but then some of like the core stuff is flawed.
Yeah,
Like there's
yeah.
really good ideas here that are like well implemented, but then there's other stuff that you would also want to be there to have it like be a masterpiece is then flawed.
It's a game.
At least that's what I'm seeing.
Like in the beginning, I was like, I don't know about this game. Maybe I should stop playing. But that's like, if you can
It's such
get
an
past,
interesting world.
if you can get past that initial point of like, there's a big upfront cost to the player's attention and getting past that. But once you get past it, um, you really get into it. I think it gets really, really good. Like, 30 minutes in or something. Once you get past basically like the escaping the elevator shaft, which is like a platforming pain that you have to do, and the platforming is not good. It's like um, to platform, you can pull yourself up ledges, but it's like you press crouch jump to pull yourself up
Oh,
ledges instead of
yeah, I
just
saw
like
the
double
tutorial.
tapping
Yeah,
jump, and it's like
which
very
is what I would
awkward.
expect. Yeah, that's where
Um,
you died the first time right into the tutorial. It's
hmm.
like, oh no, you need to jump and crouch jump.
Essentially, I'm trying to get to the VIP room, so I can get to this. Because I think this is one of the bigger barriers to the game is getting to the VIP room is really fucking hard. Um,
I feel like I'm getting very lost with like where you are and where you came from.
that's another thing.
Just
It's
watching.
really easy to get lost in this map, but you're kind of streamlined through it
Okay.
once you get into it. I didn't. The game kind of pushes you forward. There is some like scripted like attacks and stuff that happen, which is also like I accidentally attacked a cat. And then it was
Okay.
like, animal cruelty is not appreciated. It says reduced your luck. I was like, what the fuck is this feature? So apparently, if you attack the lucky cats, it like reduces your luck or something.
Right.
But we'll have to
Where's
see
the
later.
pro animal cruelty?
Skip ahead a bit because I think I essentially
You're
just
still trying. You're still trying to figure out the game like what you can and can't do and what the game
yeah. I think the
expects
game,
from you.
in a lot of ways, it's almost like an RPG sandbox where it's like, here,
Yeah.
figure out like how you're going to beat this.
It like they have like an open level. It's like here's like the like thing you need to do, but then yeah, you have to figure out how to get through
But it's never
yourself. So,
explained to you
which I
like,
appreciate.
here's a scatter gun. It uses energy ammo. If you're gonna use this gun, you should go and find all of the other guns and empty their ammo so
Oh,
you
you
can
dual
reuse
wield.
the ammo. Yeah, you can dual wield. That's not explained to you. I didn't even know there was an ammo counter on the guns until I watched the recording back and looked in the box. Like the HUD's very minimalistic, and
I wouldn't. If you didn't tell me, I would never have guessed
yeah,
that's what that was trying to
yeah,
show.
yeah, yeah.
That's awful. Like I get it, trying to go for minimalistic stuff, but like, I feel like you need to like be sufficient enough to
I think
actually show the
the
information.
game has a very high barrier of entry. Like I think another game
Yeah,
like Sea of Thieves or The Outer Wilds are games that ask a lot from the player in terms of upfront. Where those two games go, hey, the only thing that's going to get you into this is just your raw sense of exploration. But if you can get
right.
past this, we've left this game really open for you to do what you want. But I really like the music. I love the atmosphere. I love the setting. I just love the aesthetics, everything about it. Um,
Yeah, it looks.
I'll
When
skip
there's
it.
lights, it looks great. In the dark, I'm a bit. I can't see anything.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I
there is
really
like
like
a
the aesthetics.
flashlight item that you can use. This is like the elevator section I was talking about, where you have to basically just platform through these like dark elevator shafts, and it's like
Yeah, I'm finding really able to see anything.
really. I
Well,
don't think I'd
I
figured
can
out
see
there
that,
was
but
a.
like, I can't see the floor at all.
Oh, here's another thing. So the game goes, hey, here's food ration in a microwave, and you take it out and it's hot, and then it heals you for more. And then like, because this is the thing where I'm like, between teaching the player something and showing the player something.
Yeah.
Um, it does that, and then later on I was like, wait, can I just go into my inventory and drop it into the microwave, and then I could heat that up for myself? The game never tells you that, but it lets you learn that yourself through showing
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah. I like that showing of a mechanic. Yeah, I like that.
This is the terminal stuff I was talking about, where it's like, here's the thing. Oh, I'm going to turn the music because I like it.
So yeah, so say that's all like what you sort of like need to like do, I suppose, and it's that oh, it needs to be logged in.
The music reminds me of like Machine Girl, like neon white vibes, which I really like. Oh, I tried the password fish. That didn't work, unfortunately.
Didn't work.
I was like, oh, there's a PDA here. Oh, there's a username password here, so you have to go log in with the password. It's like, well, it's like using a terminal in Windows or using Linux, where you have to like physically type everything in.
I have a copy paste tool in Linux though.
What? You're not living in the future, are you?
Yeah.
So I'm like, view cam VIP lobby, and it's like, no, you can't view cam the VIP lobby.
I'm really torn on this terminal stuff.
At first I was like, I think it's really cool.
I think it's really cool, but I do not want to have to actually remember passwords. My short-term memory is for like I'll be doing.
I thought this as
what
well.
The fuck is this?
But I was actually able to remember IT admin and ABC123 pretty well. There's another one where it's like Z hard sucks 666, which is a bit harder to remember. I think I like came to the computer and I was like, what was the fucking I had to watch someone else's video to remember the password to one of the terminals to end the lockdown, sort of thing.
Well. Looks like old boy got stuck in the
elevator. I don't know. As someone that actually does code and do the thing, like I get like, oh, you actually feel like you're hacking, but I don't know. For me, I can see this getting old quite quickly, and I'm someone that likes programming.
Well, in the same way, like the Outer Wilds has like the detective log on your ship where it writes down all the places and you've been in the stuff you've learned. I wish there was like a PDF I could look at database that had like passwords, not even just automatically type them in for me, but just have them written down so I can look at them again. Just read like, PDA stuff.
Like have like a PDA like you can like immediately put in front of the terminal and like switch back and forward really quickly or something. That'd be like really useful.
I mean, if that exists. Because, it could exist.
Maybe it does, yeah.
It was not explained to me if it did. So this took me forever to figure out. I was like, oh, cool, there's ammo up here. And then I spent like half an hour running around this room trying to figure out where I was supposed to go. Because, again, the game is really dark and it doesn't tell you have a flashlight. So I had to like look up where to go, and it turns out... I found out there was a flashlight, so here's with the game with the flashlight on. And I was like, oh, it turns out you're supposed to climb up into that storage thing that you
I can see now.
To escape.
It's crazy. Was it F for flashlight?
No. You have like an equipment list, and then you have to like scroll between it. There's some
Why
stuff...
can't it just be F?
There's some stuff from like, it's cool, it has that old school design to it, and then there's other stuff where I'm like, there probably should just be a quick grenade key, or there probably should just be a quick flashlight key.
I'm all for like okay.
The Federation is hitting the club, Tony.
Oh no! This is kind of my belief in general in the world. Was like I don't like new things just for the sake of new stuff, but I appreciate old stuff. But at the same time, if there's no reason for the old stuff, why keep it? Like what's the actual,
one thing I wanted to point out as well. I thought the enemies were a bit too tough, but the game at the beginning, it has difficulties and it has recommendations. I put it on normal because I was like, I'll just try normal. But there's like sliders on there, so if you're going to try this, I'd recommend either like trying it on easy or just turning the enemy health down, sort of thing. I think the enemies have a bit
you can customize the difficulty
more
than just the preset
so, like,
they've got. Yeah,
as much as I didn't think the enemy health was a bit high for me, it is possible to turn it down. So And that is something you'll learn by playing.
So you could keep their damage high, but then make it like they're not as bullet spongy.
Yeah. So the game lets you customize that to how you want to play.
That's really cool.
FDF.
Federation Defense Force.
Yeah. Big time. But I'll just show some.
It is a very different federation. Kind of like RoboCop Federation, like cops.
I want to show some like later game stuff where show some like combat, because the combat's pretty good. You got like an armor system where you can find like armor plates to equip. You can find like these. This looks straight up like one of those blasters from Star Wars. This is like the equipment system. So you go through the equipment, and then you can
like, double detonator.
Equip grenades. That's a grenade, yeah.
Double detonates from Star Wars.
These are like smoke bombs that you can equip, and then there's cigarettes which make your focus come back a lot more.
Okay. So okay. Cool.
Here's like the riot shield enemy. So here's the focus to slow down the time. I just think I just kicked him.
Oh, you just kicked him. Nice. So
enemies
as well?
I think so.
Okay.
I think I just kicked him, which
right.
You can pick up the riot shield and use it, and I just started using it. But then what happened was, and then I went into the room with the riot shield. It's like a storage thing. So you have like this. My head's got critical damage because people have been shooting me in the head. Then I need to find like bandages to heal my wounds. But to heal my health, you have to eat food. This is like the RPG mechanics. Where I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Apple juice.
I was carrying around like the riot shield at some point, and then basically what happened was like, oh, I can just walk around using the riot shield, they won't be able to shoot me. But then there was a Federation officer sat on the floor with a sniper rifle, and he just sniped me the fuck out and just completely destroyed my riot shield. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, different enemies have different ways to counter weapons. Like, enemies learn. If you like attack an enemy in the same way too many times, they start to learn how you're attacking them, and they'll start like blocking your attacks.
I guess like on the flip side as well is like those weapons are also
this outside area, like the climbing, like the Blade Runner-y cyberpunk stuff. I was like, this is really cool, but it's also like platforming.
The frustration is
Like
it looks great.
Sniper. Yeah, you get to use the sniper rifle as well, which is really cool.
So what's the problem with the platforming? Like I think it's hard to like see or like tell from video.
It's very hard to use. It's not intuitive.
Right.
Because you have to jump, and then to pull yourself up, you have to like crouch jump.
So the same problem as before.
But there's also like wall jumping.
Oh.
So you can like jump off things, but it's a bit clunky. There needs to be like
contextual.
Not contextual per se, but like buffering where you can kind of slide on a wall for a bit, or like just these small nuanced things that make it a bit easier, sort of thing. Yeah, because the thing is, it's not like, I don't think it's meant to be like a full immersive sim, but it's almost like it's very immersive simmy in a way, which I really like.
They've got I don't know if this is an apt analogy, but like, you know, like Assassin's Creed 1, there was like, oh, you need to like assassinate this guy, and it's like, right, it's up to you to do that. Like, you deal with it, we're not gonna like tell you what to do. It's kind of like that, but like obviously way more in depth. I quite like that concept of like, you have this thing to do, here's an open level, you figure it out.
So here's what I was talking about, like there's like scripted segments where it's like, hey, don't shoot me. The FDF's coming and they're going to kill you. And like, no, fuck you, we're going to kill you. And the FDF send in a fucking gunship after you. So like
very RoboCop.
This is scripted, and it's like, you need to get to this other end here. But the game goes, okay, here's a bunch of snipers, here's a gunship, here's a rocket launcher. But you don't have to kill the gunship. You can just walk away. So the game goes like, hey, here's a way to deal with the gunship. But you can just ignore the gunship, which I did.
Because a lot of the games are just like, you have to kill the gunship. And it's like, no, just you just need to get the other
your
side. That's great.
Your objective is to end the lockdown and get out of the club. Everything else is just a side thing that's happening.
That's fantastic.
It feels like this big club sandbox, and you get to deal with it the way you want to, which I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like, I did try and kill the Federation shuttle, but I didn't get on very well with the rocket launcher. It was a bit weird. It seems like you could fire a bunch of rockets at the same time by like holding down right click, but I couldn't figure out how to use it properly. Because I saw videos of other people using it, and they seemed to have a lot easier time than me, so I don't know, maybe they were playing on an easier difficulty. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Maybe it's been alternate. I don't know. No idea.
I got like an
very interesting.
SMG, a sniper. I really like this, but again, I think it's something that a lot of people are going to struggle to get into. Yeah, I think the platforming just straight up needs improving. But I think
maybe some more tutorial
there's like
stuff
there's a really solid base here, and I think all the small details that have gone into this are really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to this. I'd love to see some more Fortune's Run. So check out Fortune's Run if you're interested in this game. Okay, next up we have a game called Alder Choke. This was a game that was shown at Realms Deep. I saw this and I was like, I do not know about this one, but I guess I'll give it a try. It essentially was like, this game is going to be really fucking hard, good luck. And that is essentially what you're getting here. It is one of those, like, Souls game, Cuphead, like, just challenging games.
So is it, like, based on, like, precision and, like, just, like, not getting hit and...
Yeah, it seems to have a story, but... Oh, it says it has a story, but... I'll read the script. It's story told through tears and deaths, many deaths, plural, got it. So the way this works is there's like an overworld map, and every overworld map is essentially like a boss rush, like arena shooter almost.
Yeah.
And they all control differently. I think there was 2 in the demo, or at least I played 2. I eventually killed this guy, which essentially you're playing like Breakout or Pong. So you're like juggling this, because if this guy ever touches the ground, it just immediately kills you. So
I didn't even realize that. Okay.
So I'm essentially like juggling this enemy while also dodging his attacks.
That seems ridiculous.
Yeah, but then there's another boss later where you're essentially on the flat 2D plane and he's charging at you and you have to dodge his attacks while shooting this gun at him.
Yeah. But on a 2D plane.
Yeah, so it's not like vertical sort of thing. Like, I'll show you quickly. Like here.
Oh, okay.
Your gun's different, and then the thing you essentially have to. He charges at you, and you have to dodge past.
Yeah, I'm getting very Cuphead vibes.
It's very. It is like that boss rush, high difficulty. I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know, like. If you would, like, after playing this, if you were like, what would you rather play, Alder Choke, Cuphead? I would say massively Cuphead. I mean, if you were going to directly compare the two, obviously I'd say they're very different in a lot of ways, but like, Cuphead has like
absolutely.
It has like the bosses are really well designed. They're not just like, this boss is hard because it's hard. It's like, normally they have lots of mechanics that you can learn and like get around, which I'm not saying these guys don't, because as I was playing the other boss, this one, I was genuinely learning his moves, and I like how like it's like you attack him, you shoot him to juggle him, and then he stops to do an attack, so he like fucks up your rhythm, and then that throws you off. But then you can learn that he's going to do that, and then you can play around that. Which I was like, oh, you know, there is like mechanics. It's not just like all RNG. Was I having fun playing this? I think the major thing is like, are you having fun while doing this?
Yeah,
that I will 100%. Say no.
I would say like, because like one of the other things was like,
I don't think this was particularly fun as because like what was I in the previous Tangerines? I was talking about how getting over it was like quite cathartic. I've played. Have I talked about playing Cuphead?
I think on the podcast we haven't.
I talked about it on the podcast, and I
properly talked
I
about it.
didn't do a Tangerine of it because I completed the game without recording any footage of it. I was like, oh shit, I forgot to record
But
any
the other-
footage of it.
But I guess the other thing about Cuphead is like because it's like a
I
single
love
platform,
Cuphead.
like,
That
doing a
game's
lot-
so much fun to play.
Yeah, but I think the reason why this is like kind of different, like you're just shooting here, and like I feel like there's more stuff
You're playing.
to do
You're
to
playing.
learn.
You're playing Breakout. That's what you're doing in this boss fight.
Yeah. Whereas this is like to me just looks infuriating. Whereas Cuphead is infuriating, but there's more going on. I don't
It
know.
says Alder Choke is a narrative boss rush game, escaping a haunted stream in forest filled with crawlers, eavesdroppers, and bargain hunters. Chat features challenging boss battles, fever dream narratives, chat characters you shouldn't trust, frustrating dialogues, upgrades that won't help you. It seems like this is a game that's just designed to be hard for the sake of being hard, and it just doesn't feel that fun to play. I mean, I eventually killed this guy, and I killed him as he killed me, but I'm counting it, so...
I will say like it doesn't like it's not. I've seen games where like they try and be the Dark Souls or try and be Cuphead, right? When it's like they're just being hard. They just like they don't know what they're doing. Like, at least here, oh, you're doing it.
Well, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah.
But he kills me.
But I can say at least here, those like there are mechanics to learn, and it's like not bullshit. Oh, you killed him with this. Oh, okay.
I killed him as he killed me. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna try the other boss because I can't be bothered to keep doing this. Would I recommend Alder Choke? No, not really. Unless there's something just way more interesting in the narrative that's worth going through all of this torture, I just don't think it's worth it personally.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Covern, Tony.
Okay.
Covern is essentially a hyper-violent, fast-paced FPS, heavily inspired by classic FPS games such as Blood, Hex, and Unreal and Time Split. Essentially, the story is you are a young, you're a young woman, and essentially, I think the priest of the town's been corrupted. And he essentially blames you, so you get burnt at the stake, sort of thing, even though you're innocent.
So they think you're a witch.
But what happens is you come back from the dead as this like demon thing to rise up again and get your revenge on the people who wrongfully killed you.
Okay.
And
Minecraft.
It's really interesting because the way you heal in this game is you eat corpses. So every enemy you kill is like your way of healing. Has this really like cool like jib animation of just eating corpses, which I was like, this is awesome.
That's cool.
And it starts out with just you got like an axe and a shield, and you essentially just cutting down villagers. Then it gets to a point where you just get like pistols and shotguns and stuff like that, and becomes like this very fast-paced shoot. It is very fast. Like you've got jumps, dashes, bullet time. Like it is like very fast-paced, which I really like. This is how the game looks like at the start. There is a PSX mode. I know you're not a fan of the PSX graphics. I'm a huge PSX enjoyer. I absolutely adore the art style. I think I turn it on here to show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like out of the box. And then I was like, oh, I wonder how the PSX mode looks. So essentially it like bit crushes everything and it takes the resolution down to 4:3. I really like it. I think
it works. It works better here than the other games I've seen.
So essentially, I put it on just to show you what it looks like, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm leaving this on because this looks fucking awesome. This looks better than the base game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It looked better than the base. I mean, the base game's already very this art style, this direction. Plus, you got mana as well. So you got spells.
Mana goes into like your bullet time, essentially.
Oh, okay, so it's the focus system.
There's like a focus system sort of thing. So you go into like, so I turn it off. Like this is what it looks like normally, and then the PSX mode is like the bit crushed 4:3 mode, which I really like. I like that art style. I should have known that the game tells you can charge your attacks, which meant I could kill these guys like way quicker. Like I'll skip ahead to when I died, because I died and then I was like, oh shit, I have to restart the entire level. Back to PSX mode. I think I got fucked by this crossbow guy. You can block with the shield, but it's a lot easier to kill once you realize that you can charge up your
football
attacks.
hooligan.
Oh, because of the cross.
Yeah. I assume this is meant to be like late medieval.
But then look, it's like, oh wait, you can press Asmon to charge up your attacks and attack direction change rate of the movement. Oh, I did not read that initially. I wonder how hard it is to kill people with the charged up attacks. Turns out you just chop them in fucking half. Like, if you like, that's something to understand. Use charge attacks early game in this because it will make it so much quicker and easier. I love the animation, like the hyper violence in this game is really, really cool. Another thing I find really cool is like you get like shotguns later on, and the shotguns will just completely obliterate the corpses of the enemies you're fighting. But the thing is, your health system is based on eating corpses, so when you like completely destroy the corpses, it makes it harder to heal. Sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it does get like pretty interesting, like thinking about how you're going to kill enemies based on needing to eat the corpses and regenerate.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a really good idea.
There's different difficulties. I think I'm playing on normal here. I think if you're playing easy, you can overheal to 150, and then obviously there's less enemy damage on these difficult. And then there's like a harder mode as well. So there's difficulty selections here. I usually just play on normal to see what the normal experience is like playing. Here's the guy who's given me trouble before. Now I just fucking chop him up. Just eat his corpse.
It's but a scratch.
Oh, I love the flashlight button on this game as well. I don't remember when I used the flashlight. It tells you to use the flashlight at some point. You know, like in games, you'll have like a flashlight button. It'll just shoot a flashlight in front of you. This game, hangs like a lantern above your head at like the top left corner of the screen. And I was like, that's so cool.
Okay.
I'll see if I can. I'll see
there it is. I see the lantern. That's really cool.
So press F to use the lantern. It just literally puts like this little candle lantern in your head to give you light.
Got little fake physics.
That's so fucking cool. Yeah. Go through this cave system. Oh, so here you get some guns. I'll pick up the guns. Oh, okay. You got all these dual pistols.
So what happened to your shield then? Like you can't.
Your shield's on your. Oh, this is the bullet time, by the way. So this is what you use mana for. You can see the mana bars going down here. Your shield is on your melee weapon. So you have to switch.
Yes, you can't.
Your axe if you want to use. You can swap the axe out for a sword on the second level of this demo. I don't know. I don't know if it makes any difference, like, to the gameplay, or if it's just like a physicality thing.
Right. I just noticed that when you had the shield out, like you had like, didn't it have like armor instead of ammo in the book, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just shield. Right. Yeah.
So I assume your shield can be destroyed if you block too many hits with it.
Yeah.
Because
I like how you choose between ammo or armor.
You left click to. Oh, you eat food in this game to get mana.
Makes sense. Okay.
So.
Exploded.
You press like left click to attack. You charge it up by holding it down. And you can right click to block. Just a very simple system, but it works and it gets you through that early game. But then once you got those guns, I just started blasting.
Well, you got the Matrix focus mirror, so you're gonna use it. It's more like a Max Payne thing, right?
You get knights with like armor on them that you have to try and break. You got like bombs and stuff. Oh, one thing I wanted to say was I wish there was rebindable keys. A lot of these demos didn't have rebindable keys, which is like really annoying. I hope they're in the full release, but like, you essentially get to the point where you have like more than 5. If you get to a point in a shooter where I have more than 5 weapons, I'm someone who doesn't use weapon wheels, and I'm someone who doesn't use mouse wheel switching. I'm someone who likes to switch to the exact weapon I want to use, and the default system is to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At what point am I going to be pressing 9 on my keyboard, right? Like, How am I going to be able to press that while I'm WASD?
I think you meant to use your nose.
Use your nose, press that. But that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
when I play games like Doom Eternal, where you have 10 different weapons, I rebind those keys to individual keys that you don't use. Like, I'll put it on V or R or T or Y or something like that.
In Guild Wars, obviously, there's only like 1 to 10, like 1 to 0 key presses, but I always rebind 6 to 0 to like other buttons closer to WSD. So yeah, I completely get that.
But yeah, I don't think there's much more to say about this game other than it just fucking rocks. I love this game.
Yeah,
it is good. Really, really cool. I'd highly recommend it. And I recommend putting on PSX mode because I think it looks better.
It does look better.
I almost think this should be the default mode, but obviously art is subjective, so
I think maybe like when you launch the game, like give the option like, oh, this is the intended setting, like, but you can decide.
Oh, you get the double barrel, baby. This is where
I'm really confused.
This is where you can start destroying corpses with the fucking double barrel.
Did any of the enemies use the guns?
So there's the crossbow people.
Yeah, that's medieval.
I don't actually know. Skip.
I'm just very confused. Like, you look like you're blasting medieval.
Oh, here's something that gets really cool. Like on the second level, you find this book, the Necronomicon.
Oh my god!
And then you basically use it, and it allows you to see platforms you can't see otherwise.
Oh.
So look at this. If you like switch to like the demon realm, and there's like these runes you can see and read. Yeah, this is what I'm like. This game is a game I want to play on like fucking Halloween. This is like mood thing. Like I don't know if I've said this on like the podcast Tangerine before. I started really going to like the Halloween spirit, where every year around Halloween now, I guess the entire October month.
Oh, you did the entire October, okay.
Yeah, what I do is like the entire month of October, I'll only play like spooky games. So I'll play like Blood, which I haven't played. Last year I played the first Dark Pictures anthology, the one on the ship. This year I'm gonna play. Is it called like Little Hope or something? The second one. I'm basically gonna play the next one this year and stream it to some friends. So yeah, if you're looking to get into a game for the spooky season, I don't know when this comes out. I think it's next year, unfortunately. But if you want to play the demo,
Halloween.
Yeah, you can always check out the demo on Halloween because that'll be a really, really cool game to set the mood. I don't think there is an enemy that there's like I think the harder enemies are like knights with armor, but I don't think any of the enemies actually use guns.
Yeah, the enemies all seem to be using like medieval stuff, and you're like just blasting with like pistols and a shotgun.
Yeah, because you'll come back from the afterlife with a fucking double barrel. It's the witch.
I just like the idea. You go back in time with your glizzies and you just like own everyone with infinite ammo.
The only unstoppable thing, the power of the glizzy.
Yeah.
Oh, you get a crossbow as well. I forgot about this. Which is like the sniper.
Oh my god! Look at the magazine on that crossbow. That I don't think that's lore friendly.
Lore friendly. I guess the idea is the enemies become tough when there's overwhelming numbers of them. Is like the idea. Which I think is a good way to balance it. I mean, the game was never past like not knowing you can charge your axe up in the beginning because I didn't read a prompt. And the game's never particularly challenging on the normal mode. So, but I'd rather have just like a fun game to go through, sort of thing. So
yeah.
Check out Covern. It's really fucking cool. Finally, we have Wizordum. Wizordum is a retro-inspired FPS with a focus on action and light puzzle. It blends the best features of classic fantasy shooters from the 90s with some modern aspects, creating a unique experience. Get the role of a cleric and fight against chaos that roams the land. Immediately, I'm looking at this. I'm like, Hexen ? Heretic ? It is okay. The mouse sensitivity is really fucking high on this. By default, I don't know what was going on there. Also, again, I'm going to complain about demo not having enough options. I would like rebindable keys. I would like the ability.
Just always have rebindable keys.
So something that games were notorious for Doom notorious for was head bob. And you can turn this off on GZ Doom, the ability to head bob. I believe this is running in Unity. There's no way for me to turn head bob off in the engine. It's myself, but I would like
Right.
the ability to turn head bob off because it was actually making me feel motion sick playing this game.
I didn't even know it had headboard until you told me.
I think it's different when you're watching something, when you're playing something.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm also like something like I always like leaving head bob on. I know a lot of like most people prefer it off.
I don't know, actually. I think it's...
My brain just gets rid of the head bob, but I like the head bob to show that it's not just like smoothly moving. That's just me. I appreciate a lot
Like,
of
I can
people
understand
hate head
people
bob.
like motion blur to show like high-speed movement. Like, I think motion blur can be well done. It's just generally I don't like stuff like head bob
I
and motion blur.
Yeah, well, I've never seen motion blur looks good, so
I've seen motion blur and depth of field. I think depth of field for like making stuff look
oh,
small is really, really cool.
yeah, that works really well. I've never seen a good motion blur. For me, like I just think it looks bad.
I definitely have, but I can't think of specific examples off the
Okay.
top of my head. I'll have a think about it. Think about it. So I think I saw the trailer for this and I was like, why have I never seen this? This looks really, really cool. Rebindable keys. And I think it's actually an issue on this game where I wanted to press E to open things, and I understand in Doom, yes, I've played Doom, you press spacebar to open things because there's no jumping in Doom. So you use space as the use key. That's not how I play games. I play
No.
games with E, or most people also use F. I think either's
Yeah.
fine, giving me the ability to choose E or F. It's just annoying, though. Like, not being able to
Yeah.
change that stuff. I understand it's a demo,
I
but
do think rebindable key, like, even on console, I personally think you should be able to rebind keys.
like if
I just think it
if
should
I
be
was
as an
gonna change
essential.
this demo, I would rebindable keys and the ability to not have head bob would be big quality of life features. Another thing I found really annoying was the big enemies. Fighting them was fine; like they would get hit all the time. Some of the smaller enemies, or especially the rats that jump at you, it was like a lot of the time my shots were going through them. Like the hit registry on especially like the rats in the dungeon was not great. At least it felt like. Oh, again, you love to do some wall humping and find a random secret. That's very like Wolfensteinish.
Yeah.
It felt like a lot of my shots were like some of them were just phasing through the enemy. I would take another look at the hit registration, because
Maybe it's like a mismatch animation.
if it was fine and it was working and I was just bad at missing, at least it didn't feel great. So obviously something's not great. Could be an animation, could be something else, you know. Yeah, I thought like I love the map animation. I thought this was really,
Oh,
really
that's
cool.
really good.
Yeah, this is a
That's
game.
really good.
I love the art style. I love the look of the
Yep.
creatures, the look of the weapons, like the map, the stuff. Because I watched the trailer and I was like, this looks really cool. But
You know what's
ultimately,
weird though?
because of this stuff, I came out thinking, man, that wasn't that fun to play.
Right, right.
Like
It's weird though. It's like colors are like remind me of like more 8-bitty, but then like the resolution reminds me of 16-bit. It's very weird. But I mean, this brown is like very 16-bit. You couldn't get that with 8-bit. But it's just weird. It's very interesting though.
Like it had that design thing of.
Q&E consumables.
I wasn't a big fan of the map design. The maps were very long and slow, which I guess is maybe sort of the idea of it's a slower pace, more of like a Dungeons and Dragons style, like RPG sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
I would have liked the maps to be a bit smaller and more concise.
Yeah.
Or just like split them up into their own separate levels. I think would feel a bit better. Because how long did I spend? I think I played the entire thing. I don't think I recorded it all, but did I? No, I must not have recorded it all. But I think I only played it for like an hour or so, and yeah, it felt like the levels took a really long time. Like it felt draining playing the levels, sort of thing.
Yeah, you had no respite like between areas or anything.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend this to most people. It depends on like what kind of game you look. If you're looking at this and going, "Hey, see, like I feel like some of my shots were just going through the
I
enemies." I don't know if you can see that, but the problem with this game is a lot of the stuff I'm talking about is not easy to show. It's stuff you have to experience. Stuff like,
yeah.
look at the rats. Did you see?
Oh no, yeah.
I'm going back to that. Why do I slow down the footage? 0.5%. Like, like my shot literally it phased through his leg.
And the
Like
next one is as
I've
well.
caught this on it
That,
phases through
yeah.
him. Like I'm not joking. Like there is a problem with hit registration in this game. I'm not just bad. Like it felt really like I get it. Like these rats jump at you, and the idea is you have to wait for them to stop moving and attack them. But there's times when they're not in this jump animation, and the shots are just going through them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like I wouldn't check out this game again unless they rebindable keys, turn off head bobbing, and looked at hit registration because it honestly it looked a lot better than it actually felt to play. It didn't feel that great to play.
Right.
It
Okay.
is apparently it's coming out with a level editor, so potentially people could make their own custom maps that I might prefer. But unless these core issues are addressed for Wizordum, it's just not going to be a recommend for me right now. But yeah, that's the end of Realms Deep Tangerine. Those are all of the old school boomer shootery games that I've been playing, and if any of them interest you, make sure to check them out. We'll be talking about on the podcast as well all of the games trailers that didn't have demos. So I'll be talking about those and probably checking those out at
Okay.
some point. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Tony? Anything that interests you?
I think what was the first one called?
It's called
Was it Fortune's Ruin?
Fortune's Run.
Run.
Fortune's Run. This game fucks.
Yeah, I find it very interesting. Very interesting. I really do like the aesthetic.
Yeah, the aesthetic's fucking cool. I
Well,
think this is
especially in the
this,
lighted areas.
this is definitely one of the most interesting games I've played in a while. I think this game is either going it could so easily go under everybody's radar. And
It depends how annoyed people get with the other the core mechanics. Right?
Let me check the store page and see when this comes out. Like, because there's no release date yet, so this is still obviously in active development. So hopefully they polished the wall running and stuff.
Because the core, I think we both agree that the core was definitely good.
It seems like the dev was pretty responsive to people on the forums. But he was basically saying a lot of people complained about it, and then he got to a point where he was saying basically, oh, maybe I should just fucking remove it from the game, sort of thing. He was like, no, it should feel fine, and I don't know. It almost got to a point where I was like, he's being a little bit.
Yeah, I guess it is difficult to take criticism, especially people. I assume a lot of effort has been put into this, considering the really good ideas and. Well, you said it's an hour long demo that you played.
Yeah. It was just one
so I guess
level
it's a lot
as well.
of that time and effort.
Basically,
but at the same time, you need other people's opinions.
Yeah, I'm reading something he said yesterday. In the full release, we promise. I believe he's replying to someone talking about the platforming. He's saying we'll try and fix this up. We were kind of strapped for time in the demo, so it seems like they sort of rushed out the demo a little bit, so not everything was fully done. But hopefully it'll be they can if they can put a bit of polishing into the polish of the game itself is good, but it's just some of the core features need a bit of polishing, and then it'll be legitimately potentially a game of the year when it comes out.
Core,
it's really, really
core concept looks really good.
I'm leaning towards this game is going to be really good. I genuinely really enjoyed my time with this game.
Is there a release date for it, or is it just when it's done? Okay.
question marks is the
Question
one on the store page. So
right.
yeah, I'm keeping my. I'm following Fortune's run on Steam. I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Really, really cool. And check us out next time. Goodbye.
Bye.